important points before you start to practice. Those points are important to consider before practicing those exams or before the final CISSP exam. Please consider the following point. The first point, that you always need to think like a manager, not like a technical or implementer. We have some good amount of questions inside the exam that is scenario based. And when you see a scenario based question and you see different answer, you have to check the most suitable answer for you as a manager. You know that the CISSP, it's an information security management certificate. So you have to think like a manager. Let me give you an example. Assume that there was a question explaining or talking about a new type of firewall. It's expensive, but this is the best firewall in the market. And it has all the new features. It's a new generation firewall. It has all the new features that allow you to protect your organization. Now, the firewall price is $200,000. Should you buy it? Because for sure it will protect your organization. If you are a technical or an implementer, definitely you will consider buying this firewall because this is the latest and greatest type of firewall. But what if you are a manager? Should you buy the firewall with such configuration? Manager will not think this way. Manager will think in a cost-effective way. In a sense of, I will check first as a manager what is the value of the asset and the information asset in my organization, then decide how much I'm going to spend on it. So if my information asset and my organization asset worth $100,000, I should not spend $200,000 to protect $100,000. This is how manager thinks. So you always have to think like a manager, not like a technical. Another example will be if a question came asking you that we need to implement a strong access control, and one of the answer will be implementing a strong password. Definitely the manager will not be the one who's doing that. The manager will make sure that it's done and the policy is followed, but he will not be the one who's doing that. He will not be the one who installing the antivirus or doing the technical work. He's just making sure that the policy and procedures implement and that the access control is in place. So always think like a manager. The second advice is to be careful with the not or least word. Many questions inside the exam will not ask about the answer, will ask about the opposite. Like this example, what of the following is not the result of the penetration testing? Now, if you just take a peek of this question and you will check which of the following is the result of the penetration testing, your result or your answer will be definitely wrong. So you have to be careful. If they put not in the questions, that means they are asking for the opposite, or least they are asking for the least action to be taken, not the best action. The good thing that inside the exams, they usually put this word not or least in bold letters. Just be careful, because I don't want you to lose a question because you didn't read the question very well. The third point is to take notes from the explanation. Those questions has been gathered from different type of resources, from the best resources actually. Most of the major book and most of the latest exam bank question, I gathered all the questions there. So you will not need to go and search for any other practice test after enrolling in this course. So you may find some new definition, or you may find some new attacks or new standard. Write them down, because as you know, CISSP are assuming that you already have an experience, you already have some experience. So they will not say that the official CISSP book will cover all the point, but some of the point will be discovered inside the question. So if you find any new terminology or definition or standard, take a note of that. This is important, and this will be useful to review at the night before the exam. The next advice will be to read the question twice. You will not have any problem with the time. The exam time is 6 hours. This is more than enough, and definitely you'll be finishing by 3.5 or 4 hours maximum. So time will not be an issue. So just be careful, because as I just mentioned, the exam is tricky and you need to read the question twice to make sure that you understood what exactly they are looking for. And finally, and this is very important piece of advice, do not review the questions after you finish the exam. So you finish the 250 questions, you still have time. Do not start going back and rethinking and re-evaluating your answer. This will confuse you, and most probably you will not clear the exam. Unless you are 100% sure that one of the questions you selected the wrong answer. But if it was those of the type of questions that scenario-based questions, and you thought about it at the beginning and you choose the right answer from your point of view, once you select it, do not change it unless you are 100% sure that you selected the wrong one. This is very, very important. And finally, do not leave any blank question and saying that I'll be taking or I'll be answering this question at the end. If you are not sure, just select any answer right now, and by the end of the course, if you want, end of the exam, if you want to get back to this question, fine. But do not leave any blank question. So those are some of the important advice for the practice test and for the final exam. Best of luck.